Have you ever experienced what I call the big empty? It's like a hunger, like a yearning, this kind of like dull ache for something that you can't quite put your finger on. Almost like you're missing somebody you've never met, or something that you've never had. It's really strange. I've had it since I was a child, on and off, and I can go for months and months and months, years even sometimes, and I won't feel it, and then it'll come along and whoop me. And it took me years to try and get a handle on what I thought it was. When I was a child, I thought perhaps there was some kind of loneliness. You know, I grew up in the middle of the countryside in this wonderful place with very few friends around me. As a teenager, it took on a more romantic notion. I thought that there was a soulmate, a twin flame, somewhere emitting a little signal that I could feel, and that one day I was going to meet them and become complete. When I was 16, I wrote like a 3 or 4 A4 page epic poem to the poet Lord Byron, because I was convinced that he was actually my soulmate and I'd been born into the wrong century. Oh, the shame. I found that the other day. I might share it. But it followed me into adulthood. And not just when I was alone, but when I was in loving, fulfilling relationships. Every now and again it would whoop me. And it's come to me recently. And I've really been analysing it. I've been thinking about it and following it back to what it could mean, because I'm not lonely. Not in a traditional sense of lonely, certainly not. Last night I watched a film on my own, and the very last thing on my mind was, oh, I wish there was somebody cuddled up with me. I have wonderful friends who are there when I want to see them, but I treasure my time on my own so much. But I just have this weird little pang that nothing fills. And I don't want like a person in my life. I don't have the time or the energy. I have loads of people around me, all of whom I love in different ways, loads of different kinds of connections. I have a very enriched life. But I have a theory, and I think that the big empty, it's not about love or soulmates. I think it's about purpose. I think it's when your higher self, your purpose calls to you and kind of like knocks you into alignment. It's almost that kind of like slowing down of a circle before it closes, before you're ready to move on to something else, the pause between breaths, maybe. And I think, it doesn't come to everybody. I think some people have a very busy mind, and I think some people have a very, not simple as in they're stupid, but a very straightforward, practical mind. Not everybody has this kind of whimsical side to themselves, but for those that do, I think it's quite common to get this feeling, this kind of weird little big empty. I've spoken to a few people before who've had it, and yeah, this kind of like soul ache that you can't put your finger on. But my theory about it is that it's cyclical. We need it for, maybe not for everybody, but for some of us. We need that real drawing in that kind of like opens us to the possibilities of what is our next adventure, what is our next level. And unless you have these quiet introspective times that are really there for healing, and you learn not to be looking outwards at this little lost signal, but bringing it inwards and thinking, what am I missing in myself right now? What have I not been doing that I need? Today I got stuck into doing a qualification that I started like a year ago, and it made me feel so good. We try to gap fill, but we try to gap fill in the wrong ways sometimes. So when you get this big empty, sit with it and then figure out what it is that you need to do to fulfill that space in yourself. I think we've been raised to believe that other people need to fill that. It's all in you, baby.